Right, welcome to another battle report, Age of Sigmar, 2000 points. We've got Daughters of Khaine. I'll go through very briefly what I have in a moment, against Maggotkin of Nurgle, demon-based, of course. The battle plan we've got is Apex Predators. It's a weird one. So we have 3 objectives. You can only capture them with leaders. So in order to capture an objective, you have to get a leader within 3 inches of it. And for there obviously to be no other leader within 3 inches of it, or with melee to kill a leader within 3 inches of it with a leader. That is the only way to get these. That is the only way to get them. So you could actually put a leader on an objective, capture it, move that leader off in the next turn. Unless your opponent can move another leader onto it, they're not capturing it. In terms of deployments, it was basically quarter of the board this way is my territory, quarter of the board that way is theirs. There's a Feculent Narmor bang in the way of everything there, annoyingly. So in terms of what we've got, so my Daughters of Khaine, it's Hagnar. We've got Bloodrack Shrine as the general, with the trait, which means anyone within aura has a bubble of 5 ups on their fanatical reroll. So we'll have a 5-up ward save. The Cauldron of Blood has another artifact which allows them to reroll prayer rolls of 1. Got 10 Witch Elves with bladed bucklers, 20 Witch Elves with pairs of sacrificial knives, a unit of 10 Blood Sisters. We've got a Melusai Iron Scale in there who has the Hagnar artifact, so +1 damage on the charge. Morathi, of course, the Shadow Queen there, Morathi Khaine over there, and Khainite Shadow Stalkers over here because, you know what, they can just teleport, so they just start over in the corner. With the plan really originally being they're quite good at just nicking objectives, but they're not going to be able to do that. In terms of Maggotkin of Nurgle, the general is the Great Unclean One with Bell. It has Muck Talon, so if I roll any 1s to hit against a unit within...
No, that's his command trait. Muck Talon just gives him +1 to hit on his flare up.
So okay, he gets +1 to hit on his flare. Sorry, it's One Last Gift, isn't it?
Yes.
Trait. So that means if I roll any hits to 1 on a unit within 6 inches of it or something.
Wholly within 12.
Wholly within 12. Then I will suffer a mortal wound. Now, fortunately, come battle round 2, I'll be re-rolling 1s to hit, so that will limit the damage on my part. We've got a unit of 30 Plague Bearers, 2 units of 20 Plague Bearers, a unit of 2 Puskor Blight Lords, 5 Chaos Knights of Nurgle, the Glottkin, I like the Glottkin, Sloppity Bilepiper down there as well. The Great Unclean One has the spell Flaming Weapon. Glottkin has Bloods of Putrefaction. It's the +1 wound, isn't it? Basically,
yes.
Adds a wound onto things, so 2 wound Plague Bearers. Nice.
No, Blades of Putrefaction gives them +1 to wound, I think, and 6s do more wounds.
All right, okay.
Something like that.
I was thinking a different one.
Yeah, that's his base spell.
Right. And then, so he has that anyway.
Yes.
In terms of my spells, my Bloodrack Shrine has the Withering, which means I can target an enemy unit within 18 inches and attacks against it with +1 to wound. I think it's only in melee though. And Morathi Khaine has Mind Razor, of course, which gives me an extra -1 rend in melee on the unit I target it with, and on the charge double damage, or vice versa. One is on the charge and one is not. We'll worry about that when it happens. So, you know, Maggotkin of Nurgle set up first because they had a battle regiment and then just 1 extra deployment. I didn't have a battle regiment. I took a Warlord battalion to get the extra artifact because I don't fancy rolling 1s on the prayers. I have a bit of a habit of that. And I also took the Gur specific one, the Huntsman or whatever it's called. So basically my Witch Elves and my Blood Sisters cannot have a monstrous rampage used on them. So that's quite nice. So we'll be back after the first movement phase when we've worked out who's going to go first, but it will not be my choice. Right, you may hear a faint hum as we've got a cooler on. It's going to be ridiculous heat today, but Maggotkin of Nurgle took the first turn. It's possible mistakes were made. The Great Unclean One couldn't get Plague Bearers in the way, so he couldn't actually get onto that objective. But after some jiggery pokery, the Glottkin got onto that one. So that's 1 objective for Maggotkin of Nurgle. A lot of things just ran, really. there was no attempts to charge or anything like that. In terms of in the hero phase spells, only one spell got off, which was the Blades of Putrefaction. So is that, so go on though, so those Plague Bearers in front have +1 to wound or something?
No, 6 to wound are mortal wounds.
Right, 6 to wound and mortal wounds.
6 to hit, sorry.
6 to hit and mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Okay, so I probably should kill those. So that's the Maggotkin of Nurgle. So the battle tactic chosen was to run 3 units, and that was these 3 units over there. They're within 3 inches of each other, so they've achieved that. 1 objective there, which also means more than me, so that's 2 victory points for the objectives as well. So we'll go into Daughters of Khaine turn 1 and be back after their movement phase. Right, so after Daughters of Khaine turn 1, hero phase and movement phase. So in the hero phase, we got off a few spells. We didn't get off, well, actually no, I think we got all of them off. Black Horror Volgu, unfortunately did 1 mortal wound against the Glotkin. The Glotkin did actually heal himself for all the wounds he lost in the previous turn, so he's just on 1 wound lost now, so that'll be him down to 17. Morathi just cast Mystic Shield on herself. All of these things around here are going to have +1 save anyway, and they're going up against, for now, things that have got no rend. Okay, they may have rend coming in soon. I may regret that, I may not. Then the important ones did get off. So Mind Razor is off on the Blood Sisters. Witch Brew didn't go off. What was the other thing I cast? I cast the Withering on these Plague Bearers here. The grand strategy, the battle tactic I've chosen is to kill a battle line unit. So I really need to kill those Plague Bearers there, because Morathi's moved over here. That's really just to get herself on that objective. She's not really going to be able to kill those Plague Bearers unless something outrageous happens. Those units both ran there. I gave Morathi Khaine an automatic run of a 6. As long as I didn't roll a 1 on the run, she would have been able to get within range of that objective. I didn't trust myself not to roll a 1, so I just gave her the automatic run. She's right on top of it now. So I will really, unless she fails her charge, but I've got a I will use a command point to re-roll that if that happens. So I should have 2 there. But I think that's it. These Witch Elves also technically ran. They did move within an inch of that deadly terrain, but they didn't suffer anything from it. Morathi didn't at the start of the turn either, because she started there. I'm just trying to think if anything... Oh yes, the other thing I got off was the prayer, which allows the Blood Sisters to re-roll fanatical faith rolls. So they should be quite beefy. I'm just trying to funnel myself in the charge phase through there, but it'll be shooting first, so we'll do shooting and charges and then be back after that. Right, so after shooting and charges, so the Melusai Iron Scale shot at the Glotkin, did 1 damage on the Glotkin. Morathi actually just shot at the Puskor Blight Lords. No real benefit in shooting the Plague Bearers. It would have just made the charge more available. So she got a nice big charge. She only did 1 wound, by the way, on the Puskor Blight Lords, because 4 wounds, but saved 3 of them with Disgusting and Resilient. She got an 8 on the charge, something like that. So she, has managed to make sure she's within 3 inches of that objective and is trying to keep close together here. She won't get any buffs as yet from here, but, trying to remain in there. The Blood Sisters, well, the Melusai Iron Scale got a massive charge, so she ran along there to leave room for the Cauldron of Blood. But then it sort of went a bit wrong. The Blood Sisters only rolled a 3 on the charge, so I spent a command point to re-roll that. It was enough to get in, but I just wanted to maximise the number I can get. I'm funneling here, so I wanted to maximise the number I could get in. I'm still not going to get all of them into range here, unfortunately, but we'll have to see what we can do there. And then the Cauldron of Blood also only got a 5. I just had to, that was just about enough. I tried to charge with these. They'd have needed like an 11 or a 12 to filter through anything, but they didn't get that, of course. These Witch Elves tried to charge against the Chaos Knights. They rolled a 7. That's not quite enough. It needed an 8. So that's the charges. So we'll be back after the fight phase and the battle shock phase. Right, so after that, that did not go very well from the point of view of Daughters of Khaine. I lost a lot. It's very unfortunate now against Nurgle. I actually lost more than I inflicted because I've lost my Iron Scale, Melusai Iron Scale. I only killed 7 Plague Bearers over there. I killed 1 or 2 over there, that doesn't really matter. The Sloppity Bile Piper prevented me from piling in, and so I couldn't get very many of the Blood Sisters in, so even with Mind Razor and so on, couldn't kill very many. I'd pinned my hopes very much on being able to take out that unit of Plague Bearers, in the hopes of getting that battle tactic done this turn, and then I can guarantee myself the 2 objectives in the next turn, but that is now not going to happen. So I get 3 victory points for objectives because I hold 2, which is also more, but I don't get the battle tactic. So no morale was failed, and no morale was achieved on a 1 for the Plague Bearers, so there was no extra Plague Bearers popped up. There's the next turn, we'll see who gets to decide who goes first there, and then whoever it is that has to go, or that will go first, will be back after their movement phase. Right, so after the hero phase and everything, so we both rolled for and got a command point, so that's nice. The Glottkin is a beacon, giving everyone extra attacks. None of the spells got off though, did they? So I either denied them or they failed, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of hero phase, I think that was it. So that was the command ability used. That was the only command ability used then, wasn't it? So then movement. So the Puskor Blightlords, they attempted to do the thing where they can potentially heal themselves. That didn't go off, but I mean, that's on a 6. Those Plague Bearers ran there, but that's not a problem for them. Those Knights have just moved 3 inches away from the Witch Elves. And I think that was about it. Just shielding the Glottkin there. So we will have a shooting phase, and then something's happened because Morathi has taken a couple of wounds from something, but I forget what. What did Morathi take her damage from?
From Cycle of Corruption.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, the Cycle of Corruption sneakily took 2 wounds off her. And in actual fact, 1 spell did go off, the Plague Wind. But
yes.
I saved the mortal wound from it on my Blood Sisters. So I remember now. I remember things sometimes. So that's it. We'll be back after the shooting and the charge phase. Right, so after the shooting phase, hopefully I've edited the previous bit out. The Great Unclean One spat at Morathi and plinked off the last wound she can take this turn. The Glottkin killed another whole Blood Sister. They actually did quite well on their saves there. In terms of charges, so everything's charged now. The Plague Bearers have charged into the Cauldron. The Knights have charged into the Witch Elves, making sure they're 3 inches away from Morathi. The Blightlords have charged into the Blood Sisters. So we will be back at the end of this turn, where it will be sort of after the fight phase and the battle shock phase. So, at the end of my phase, it's looking very, very ropey. I thought I had a plan, and then it turned out to be turned into ashes. I have no real plan here. So in terms of hero phase, what plan I do have is to take out the Glottkin. I've done some damage to him in the hero phase with magic, with Black Horror of Ulgu. I wasn't able to get Mind Razor off, and I wasn't able to get the... Oh, did I get Mind Razor?
Yes, you did.
I got Mind Razor. I didn't get the Withering, that's right. The Withering would have been better. So it's quite tricky now. After movement, basically what I've done, I've moved the Witch Elves and the Bloodwrack Shrine here to try and charge onto the Puskor Blightlords. I've also given the Cauldron of Blood the reroll Fanatical Faith rolls to try and keep it alive. I tried to heal it, but I rolled on my Brave, it's only healed 1 wound. So it's only got 5 wounds left. This is, if I don't kill the Glottkin, I'm in serious trouble. I did use a command point to be able to fight with my Blood Sisters. That also did some damage to the Glottkin and reduced these Plague Bearers down to 1. Morathi's staying there. I did have a think of moving her away to try and get into the opponent's territory in the next turn, and therefore have a battle tactic I could do in the next turn. But apparently abandoning it means I lose it. So it's not a case that it just has to be taken off you. So I'm in a little bit of trouble here. We'll be back after the shooting and charge phase, because I am going to have to rethink things now. Right, it's on now. So in the shooting phase, we took some more wounds off the Glottkin. It's now on 5 wounds left. We're going to need to power up with the Cauldron of Blood. The Bloodwrack Shrine took a wound off it in the shooting phase. I mean, that was one of the things that was nice. She's charged into the Puskor Blightlords. making sure she's within 3 inches of the objective. It won't really help me this turn, but maybe for future turns. The Witch Elves have charged in. Haven't charged Morathi in. I've taken the view that if this Morathi can somehow weather the storm this turn and not lose the full 3 wounds, it's very unlikely, but let's just say, then she can stay alive another turn. And then it gets tasty. The Shadow Stalkers, I just had a speculative charge. They got it on a 12. So they're in. I'm intending to do some damage to the Sloppity Bilepiper. Again, they're not an amazing unit. They're just really a unit that can stick about. But, you know, that'll be interesting. So that's the charges and the shooting phase. We'll be back at the end of the turn after the fight phase and battle shock phase. Right, this game has taken a long time, all very tentative. So at the end of that, so what happened is Morathi actually did sort of survive. In fact, she didn't actually take any wounds from the Plague Bearers. She did take 1 wound, that may have been early in the turn. The Witch Elves killed the Puskor Blight Lords. Unfortunately, I mean, I couldn't pan in anyway, what was I playing at? So I wasn't able to do anything there. I wasn't able to kill the final Plague Bearer. You know, the Sloppity Bilepiper's ability to just cut off all pilings is spectacularly devastating to an army such as mine, well, actually most armies. So the end result is I can only get 1 Blood Sister attack in. It didn't unfortunately kill it. It rolled a 1 on the battle shock, so 3 more came back. This one rolled a 1 on the battle shock, 4 more came back. The Witch Elf over there was killed, of course, and just by horses. And the Cauldron, I think, has taken an extra wound.
Yes.
So it's on 10 wounds taken now, so 3 wounds left. So the situation is I did get the battle tactic. This was the relatively straightforward one at this point. I didn't do any damage to the Sloppity Bilepiper. I was hoping to do some there. I got 3 points for the primary again, for the objectives. And we're going to go into battle round 3. This will actually be really, really interesting. But we will be back at some point then. Right, so going to battle round 3, Maggotkin of Nurgle did win that one, but of course what I've done is I took away that objective because we're playing a Realm of Gur. Whoever goes second gets to decide to remove an objective. You know, I mean, at that point, Morathi is going to last a few more turns. We're basically buggered here, so we're just going to have a last hurrah. So the Chaos Knights have moved around there. They want to exact some sort of spiteful revenge on the Cauldron of Blood. The Grey Unclean one used the command point to auto-run 6. He's charging across the hill. For some reason, he's upset at the Blood Sisters. Okay. Oh, I have just realised, by the way, those Plague Bearers may not have come back last turn. I've forgotten another thing. Do you know what I forgot? I forgot that I could have had 3 rolls of, and on a 3 up, you'd have taken a mortal wound. So I might have killed it. Do you know what? What the hell? I forgot. We've both forgotten so many things this game. I think that was about it though. Nothing else we even could move, could it? So it was just the knights and the thing. In terms of spells, the Great Unclean one got off Flaming Weapon. It would cast on 11, but then failed to cast the next one, which is what I was saving my Unbind for, but never mind. And that's it. So we'll do shooting and charges and see where we are. Right, we're back at the end of the shooting and the charge phase, rather earlier than was planned. I don't really know what to say here. So the Chaos Knights tried to charge in. But did they get a 4 first of all?
3.
They got a 3. Re-rolled it with a command point into a 3. And then the Great Unclean one rolled a 3 on the charge. So unfortunately this means that there were no successful charges. It's just how this is. I mean, at this point in the game it really doesn't matter, but still that was unfortunate. So we'll be going into the fight phase and then be at the end of this turn. Right, okay, so we've had a very long and very hot thing. I'm hoping summer's over now. So at the end of that turn, really not a lot happened. Some Plague Bearers died. There was a wound on a Blood Sister. I mean, at this point, I could just say with the Blood Sisters, just to see. So that's 2 mortal wounds on your Blood Sisters.
Both die.
Both die. So I've killed I've killed those guys. Yeah, at this point, so Maggotkin of Nurgle considered there. There were no victory points won at the end of that turn for Maggotkin of Nurgle at all. Already I'm on 9 against 5. Because Morathi, I mean, she didn't even take through this. I mean, she's got like 6 wounds. She's got 4 wounds left. So she's guaranteed to last the rest of my battle round 3 and the first turn in that one. So I am going to keep hold of these objectives for 2 more turns. Gets me another 6 points. I mean, I might struggle to get a battle tactic, it has to be said. I'm not sure what battle tactic I could get, but I would nonetheless, in the next 2 battle rounds, get another 6 uncontested points, putting me on 15. You can't kill my war. You say you still won't be able to get a battle tactic in the next one, so I'd be 15-5 up. There's no way to do this now. So that's that. So Daughters of Khaine win there. Next week we'll be on with 40k. I'm taking Necrons. Did you say you're taking?
I'm thinking about the Forge.
Thinking about Xenos Hunters against Xenos. But yeah, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, click the like button, comments below, and until next time, see you later.